let's just talk about what it means to believe in things. This is the iconic poster from X-Files, I Want to Believe. You can't help it. This is the thesis of my new book, The Believing Brain, that you can't help but believe things. The brain is designed to find patterns. We house belief engines. That is, we're pattern-seeking primates. We connect the dots. A appears connected to B, and this is called association learning. Whether you put the dog in the cage and you ring the bell, you give him some food and he salivates, you ring the bell, you give him some food and he salivates, you ring the bell and he salivates. Classical conditioning. He's associated A with B. Or you put the rat in the box and he's really hungry because you haven't fed him since yesterday. This is how experiments work. And he's really motivated to eat. So what happens when organisms are hungry is they become more active. They don't become less active to conserve energy. They become more active to find resources. And so they run around, and every time they get close to the little bar, you just click the switch and the little pellet comes down the tube there and into the little thing, and he hears it, and he runs over there and sees it, and he gets very excited. So he kind of figures out fairly quickly, if I get close to if I move toward the bar, I get it, and then maybe next time he moves toward it, nothing happens, because you wait, and you make him go 2 steps closer to the bar, and you give him his reward. And now he realizes, okay, I got to go to the 2-step thing, and you make him do 3 steps until he comes right up next to the bar. The moment he touches the bar, you give him a pellet until he finally touches the bar himself hard enough to close the electrical switch, and the pellet comes down. And now he's been operantly conditioned. He's associated A with B. That takes about 20 minutes to shape a rat that's hungry. Or you can do it with pigeons. This is the rat lab and pigeon lab I worked in a Skinnerian lab in the 1970s. This is what science looked like decades ago. This was a high-tech computer. Believe it or not, that's the programming wires. This was a Texas Instrument programmable calculator. This was cutting edge when I was in graduate school. And these, you may not recognize these. These are called pencils. And these are data sheets. It's actual paper that you write on. And this was one of my pigeons. And so we trained this pigeon to peck the left key and then the right key in a certain pattern. He had to figure out what the pattern was before he got reinforced. And if he got more pecks on the left key than the right key, then he would get more rewards and that sort of thing. What it turns out is that if you randomly give him a reinforcement, whatever he happened to be doing just before he got the reward, maybe he swings around left and his wing touches the side of the bar, he will now repeat that again and again, and that's called superstition behavior. Skinner discovered this in the 1950s. It's been replicated many times. That's magical thinking. That is, you've associated A with B, but they're not really connected. I call this patternicity, the tendency to find meaningful patterns in both meaningful and meaningless noise. Let's do a thought experiment. Well, you can have 2 kinds of errors in this. A type 1 error is a false positive. Is believing a pattern is real when it isn't. And a type 2 error is a false negative, or not believing a pattern is real when it is. Okay, so here's your thought experiment. You're a hominid on the plains of Africa 3.5 million years ago. Your name is Lucy. Thank you. People in America don't always get that joke. They're like, Lucy? You mean like the TV show? No. The little hominid, Donald Johansson, the little Australopithecine, like the Gary Larson cartoon with the Australopithecines at the cave party, and the guy's going, "You're not the Lucy." All right, so you're a hominid in the plains of Africa 3.5 million years ago, and you hear a rustle in the grass. Is it a dangerous predator, or is it just the wind? Your next decision could be the most important decision of your life. If you think that the rustle in the grass is a dangerous predator, and it turns out it's just the wind, you've made a type 1 error. That is a false positive. That's a low-cost error to make. On the other hand, if you believe that the rustle in the grass is just the wind when it's a dangerous predator, that's a high-cost error to make. So in the only formula of the day, patternicities will occur whenever the cost of making a type 1 error is less than the cost of making a type 2 error. When is that? The problem here is that assessing the difference between type 1 and type 2 errors is highly problematic, especially in split-second life and death situations. So the default position is to assume that all patterns are real. That is, assume all rustles in the grass are dangerous predators and not the wind, and we are the descendants of the most patternicity-prone primates in evolution. In other words, you see what I'm saying is that the default position, the default rule of thumb that the brain evolved is just believe everything, just in case. Because not believing it is not that costly, but missing, or it is costly, Believing things is not that costly. Missing the big things that are important is costly. So, we hear something, we see something, you read it on the internet. I saw it in Las Vegas. Must be true, right? And that's the basis of magical thinking. That's really what we're up against.